Hey everyone, Play from Brooklyn, football with the fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Here with another mock draft Monday. This one's a little different though. This time, Mazo and I are going to do our individual mock drafts. So I'm going to do one by myself. I'm going to use the Pro Football Network uh, mock draft simulator, and then he's going to do one himself with the PFF mock draft simulator. And we're going to let you guys decide which one of us did a better job. Which things you liked about each of our drafts, and which ones you didn't like. Which things you didn't like. I'm also going to use the over the cap uh, salary cap calculator to start the process of the offseason by signing some free agents. So I'm going to start with that just to give you a sense of how we can easily get up to quite a bit of money to do some shopping, if you will, with in this offseason. So as you can see, the salary cap is at $48 million right now. There was a recent increase this week of another $5 million. So we're up to $48 million this year in salary cap space. And that's obviously a very good place to start. We're right about halfway, middle of the league in terms of how much money that is relative to other teams, but that's quite a bit of money to do some work with. But I'm going to raise that pretty easily and pretty significantly. Keep an eye on what I'm doing. So Brian Burns is someone who I'm pretty sure that we want to keep. Brian Burns' contract right now runs through 2028. So that's 4 seasons left on his deal. And I'm going to add another season. I'm going to click this little green plus sign right here, and that adds another season, and I'm going to add it at $25 million. Now, there's a very good chance that by the time 2029 gets here, lots of other things will have taken place. Maybe he's, two-time All-Pro by then, and we will have to pay him even more money than that. Whatever. Maybe he gets hurt and doesn't play at all. Whatever. The fact is, $25 million is not going to seem like a lot of money in 2029 if he's still playing at the level that he's playing now. So it's a nice gesture on our part to offer him that much money, but it's not by any means like written in stone. We're not guaranteeing that part of the contract. However, you see that the only year he's got fully guaranteed right now is this coming year, 2025. And then about half or so of 2026 is guaranteed. And I'm going to change a couple of those things. First of all, I'm going to fully guarantee 2026, and I'm going to fully guarantee 2027, which I think shows him that we're making a commitment to him. And I think he'll be very happy to hear that we're willing to make that big a commitment to him, plus adding that 5th year. Now, his base salary for this year is $22.25 million, and I'm not willing to keep. He's already got some signing bonus money. We're going to add to the signing bonus money. So 22.25 million, I'm going to bring that down to 7.25 million, which means that's how much I'm going to guarantee, because that's what his base salary is. That's a $15 million reduction, but I'm going to give him a $15 million signing bonus. And a $15 million signing bonus means he gets that $15 million this year. So he's still going to get $22.25 million this year. It's just that for accounting purposes, we only get charged $3 million of it this year because the salary cap allows you to charge off that $15 million signing bonus across the length of the deal, which right now is 5 years. So we only have to take a $3 million a year hit for the signing bonus part. So his cap number is down to 17.75. So I'm going to say transact, meaning make it so, and you'll see what happens. All of a sudden, that cap space that was at 48 million is now at $60 million, just from one renegotiation that basically is giving Brian Burns the same exact number of dollars we were going to give him anyway this year, but allows us to spread it over the 5 years of the contract. And again, I added a 5th year, and I guaranteed a little bit more money to incentivize him to do this. I'm going to do something similar for Dexter Lawrence. So for Dexter Lawrence, I'm saying, yes, let's keep him a little longer. Right now, we have him through the 2027 season. I'm going to say, let's keep him through the 2028 season. Let's add another year, and we'll add that year at $22 million, which, again, by then will seem cheap if he's playing anywhere near the level that he's been playing. So $22 million in 2028. But now we've got a 4-year deal. So what a 4-year deal does is it allows me to give him a signing bonus like I did with Brian Burns and spread that hit over 4 years. So right now you see his cap hit is $24 million for this year. His base salary is $15.5 million. So I'm saying, maybe I can give him a $12 million signing bonus, which would hit $3 million a year and reduce this base salary by $12 million. So now instead of 15.5. It's 3.5, which means we only have to guarantee 3.5. So he's getting, again, the same exact number of dollars in his hand, but now the cap number has come down. But I'm also, because I want him to, really want to do this, going to guarantee next year, which currently is not guaranteed. Next year, meaning 2026. So now 2026 is fully guaranteed. He didn't have that before. So aside from getting the same exact number of dollars, he's got even more money guaranteed in the future. He's got a fourth year, which again, $22 million. By the time 2028 gets here, if he's playing as well as he's been playing, we're probably going to have to renegotiate that upward, because he's probably going to say, I don't want to play for $22 million in 2028. But whatever. For right now, that looks and sounds very nice to offer him a pay raise 3 years from now. So again, let's transact that. And what does that do? That brings our salary cap up to $68 million. I just increased our salary cap by $20 million with two people, and I'm not giving them any more money than I was going to give them anyway. And I didn't even add a void year. I made the contract longer, but there's no void years. So I think that is very realistic and very doable. And that gives us $68 million. Now I'm going to start making some cuts. There's some people here that, frankly, I just think the experiment is over. It's time to move on. One of them is Graham Gano. I'm going to actually trade him, ideally to Baltimore, who is in win now mode. And their kicker, Justin Tucker, has lots of legal issues going on. If you don't know about them, just Google it. I'm not going to get into it myself right here. But I'm going to say that we can trade Graham Gano, probably to Baltimore, but who knows? I mean, they're in win now mode, and they just need him to be good in the playoffs. And he's still very good, but at 37, how much longer is he going to be good? And how long is it going to take us to be good? So I don't think he's a good fit for us, but I think he'd be a good fit for Baltimore. But then you see we're up to almost $72 million in cap space just from these three moves. There's a few more people I'd like to get rid of. I think that the experiment with Josh Ezeudu is over. Josh, I feel like we didn't properly utilize you. You should have been a guard the whole time and never had any experiment at tackle, but that's what we did to you, and we kind of killed your confidence. And you know what? Maybe you just need a fresh start, like Matt Peart and John Feliciano and Will Hernandez, and a long laundry list of people who, once they left the Giants, figured out how to play ball at a higher level. So maybe you'll be the next in that line. But yeah, I'm ready to move on from you. Greg Dulcich, I don't think we need that tight end. I'm going to try and re-sign Chris Manhertz, but I don't think we need Greg Dulcich. You see, we're up to almost $75 million now. Austin, oh, by the way, this little dotted line over here, this shows you above the dotted line is how much dead cap money we would have if we cut someone. And then below the line is how much cap savings we'd have for having cut them. So people who have a cap savings of at least $1 million are people I'm considering cutting. I'm cutting Austin Schlottman. Now we're at 76 million. I'm cutting DJ Davidson. Again, not saying these are bad people or bad players, but I just don't think they're going to, be the reason we make it to playoffs. So I'd rather have the cap space. Raheem Lane, got to go. I was going to cut Jordan Riley, but I already cut DJ Davidson. I think we should keep one of them. Montrell Washington, I honestly don't even know who you are. So if you can save me $1 million, please do. Ross Blaylock, I know who you are, but I'm ready to cut you. Jimmy Morrissey, got to go. Okay, so I feel like there's probably more people we can cut, but that's enough for now. And now I'm below $1 million in cap savings anyway, and the minimum salary I think is $940,000, $960,000. So netting it out, you wouldn't really save any money to cut any of these people. But you see, I have 49 players in the contract, and that only 51 count against your cap until the end of the preseason, right? When the final cut down day comes, and the week one's about to start, that's when the cap acknowledges your final 53-man roster. But until then, you only have to account for your 51 highest paid players. And we're at 49, and I'm about to re-sign some of the free agents that we run the risk of losing. So we're going to easily be above that 51 number. But where are we in cap space? We are, with my calculations, $81.3 million in cap space. 81.3. That is enormous. That's huge. You can do all kinds of things with that kind of money, including, for those of you who've seen some of our earlier episodes, when I talked about using cap space to buy draft picks. I showed you an example of possibly doing with Miami, possibly doing with Cleveland, with about $20 million for the cap space. With $81 million in cap space, you can spend $20 million on a first-round draft pick. Again, please go rewatch my episodes from earlier if you don't know what I mean by that, and still have plenty of room. That would leave us with $61 million in cap space, which would still be ninth in the league in cap space. Okay, but I'm going to give some of this back to some other players. I think Greg Van Roten is worth bringing back. I'm going to say to Greg Van Roten, um, we would at least like you as a depth piece, so much so that I'm willing to give you $2 million fully guaranteed. That man may not even want to play anymore. He may be ready to retire. I don't know that, but I mean, he is 34. So I would say a $2 million offer is a fair offer for 1 year. I would fully guarantee it and say, uh, please come back. And some of the other websites have the function where they will basically anticipate what a player would accept or reject. So they have the ability to say, no, the player would reject that offer. Um, this particular one does not. Again, no knock on Over the Cap. This is a great website and great functionality. It just doesn't offer that particular functionality. So I'm just saying, if you've seen that somewhere else, it doesn't offer that here. Whatever we offer the player, they are accepting that the player will take that and adjusting our salary cap accordingly. Okay, so Chris Van Hertz, I've mentioned him. He's a blocking tight end that is a local guy. He's actually from the Bronx and is also not a young man who may not even want to play anymore. But I'm willing to guarantee half of that and say, Chris, please come back, please block for us. And if you stay the whole year, of course, you'll make all the money. But I'm not sure you're going to stay the whole year or that we even necessarily want you to stay the whole year. So I'm going to guarantee half of it. And I think that's fair. I want our long snapper back, Casey Kreider, who's been here for seemingly ever. Um, and I think that a $1.75 million contract for Casey Kreider is a fair, fully guaranteed offer to him to get him to come back 1 more year. And I think he's 34 or 35 years old. You see, we're still at just under $77 million in cap space. And we now have how many people signed? I guess that would be 52. Yes, we just signed 3 people. We have 52 people signed. I would like to sign Jamie Gillan, our punter back. In fact, I would say to Jamie Gillan, we really want you back. We're going to offer you $2.5 million, which even that might not be enough to get him back. In fact, I would offer him a 2-year deal, but the second year not guaranteed. And I'd say, okay, if you are all that in a bag of chips and we still love you and you're still earning a spot on the roster in 2026, you'll get a raise. But I'm not guaranteeing that because I don't know if that's going to happen. So those are the people that I feel we really should bring back for sure. There's a couple of others I wouldn't mind bringing back. I wouldn't mind bringing back Ihmir Smith-Marsette. He returned a kick for a touchdown. That is like a unicorn for the Giants. I mean, we have very few people who've ever done that. In fact, we've only had 3 people in the history of the Giants do it twice, which you would know if you'd watched our earlier episodes, because that was one of the trivia questions. So you know what? Let's just get it done. Let's just offer him a contract. Let's say we'll offer him 1.25 million and guarantee basically half of it. I'm going to say 625,000, which is a little more than half of it. Fine. This young man, Deontay Johnson, I think that he is a good player, that he's very athletic, and we need to make sure that we see what we really can get out of him before we give up on him. I'm not going to guarantee very much of it, but I'd like to have him back. Okay, so now you see that we have 55 players under contract, which is more than enough. And we have still got $74 million in cap space. $74 million in cap space, you can do all kinds of things. Let's do some of them. So I'm going to go to the add external player feature and say, well, who do I really want to sign from other people's teams? And you know that I want Jimmy Garoppolo as our quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo is only 33 years old. He's 33 years old. He has taken the team to the Super Bowl. He has won, big games in this league. He's somebody who I'm pretty sure is going to play for several more years. Will he be back in the Super Bowl? I mean, obviously we don't know that, but there's a lot of people making a whole lot of money who never got anywhere near a Super Bowl. This young man has played in a Super Bowl. So if we said to him, please come play on our terrible team. I know you just came from the Rams, who are our playoff team, but please come play on our terrible team and perhaps mentor your replacements, because we're going to try and draft a quarterback in the first round if at all possible. I think it would take some money to get him to do that. And I think $7.5 million for a guy who played only 1 game last year, week 18, because they we're resting Matthew Stafford, is not in a position to ask for a lot of money, but I think he'd ask for more from us than from many of the other places that could probably give him a better shot at, at winning. So 7.5 million, I'm guaranteeing that. And I'm saying I would even give him a second year, not guaranteed, and say, listen, if you play so well this year that we want to bring you back next year, we'll pay you a lot more money. Now, he's made a ton of money in his career. He doesn't need the money. But everybody wants the money, but no, he doesn't actually need the money like some of these other younger players do. That would be 25 million over 2 years. So if in fact he is the person that we want to start again next year, he should make more money. And in fact, I would throw some incentives in there, although you can't do that on this particular website. But I throw some incentives in there for, like, if he starts more than 15 games, he should make more money. If he throws 30 or more touchdowns, he should make more money. If he gets us to the playoffs, he should make more money. So those are all things, they call them not likely to be earned incentives that wouldn't count against our cap unless he earned them. But if he did, then of course he should make more money. He should probably make 2, 3, 4, 5 million more dollars if he does all those things and goes to a Pro Bowl, all those kind of things that are both player and team oriented incentives. If he has a great season like that, like he did for San Francisco a few years ago, then yes, he should be making more than 7.5 million and more than 17.5 next year. But the odds are good that he doesn't, so I'd put them in as not likely to be earned incentives. But I do want him, and I think he would be a good mentor to our next quarterback, our rookie quarterback. And I do think that $68 million is still plenty of money. So who do I want next? I want Milton Williams. Milton Williams is that defensive tackle for the Eagles who had a great game in the Super Bowl, who is, I think, a very good interior defensive lineman and a very big part of their rotation and why they were so dominant all season long and in the Super Bowl. He's a young man, I think, and he hasn't made his money yet. So he's going to look to get paid. And again, he's coming from a Super Bowl winning team, the Eagles, and we're asking him to come to their division rival with 3 wins. So we're going to have to really pay him well to get him to want to make that jump. So I'm saying 4 years, $70 million, 17.5 million AAV is what it will probably take to get him to come. It may take more than that. In fact, you know what? Let's just call it 4 years, $72 million. That's $18 million a year on average. But are we going to pay him exactly $18 million every year? No, we're going to use a signing bonus to help navigate that. So 4 years, $72 million. If I give him a $16 million signing bonus, that is $4 million a year already accounted for in the cap hit. So I'm only going to give him $2 million in, actually, let me think about that, $4 million. No, $2 million, $2 million, sorry, in base salary guaranteed this year, because that plus the $16 million signing bonus adds up to the $18 million a year that we're talking about paying him. So he'd get $18 million this year. I will guarantee him $18 million next year. Fully guaranteed $18 million next year. Now, the last 2 years, so just to be clear, his cap hit for the second year would be $22 million because we are adding a $4 million cap hit from the signing bonus. Okay, so far we've paid him $20 million in base salary, 2 and 18, and $16 million in signing bonus. So that's $36 million of the 72 million that I was saying that we probably need to pay him. Now is where we're going to try and be a little bit more aggressive. I think that we should count on him being here for the 3rd year, but not necessarily the 4th year. So let's say we gave him $14 million the 3rd year and guaranteed half of it. No guarantee for the 4th year, and the $4 million we saved last year, so to speak, in last year meaning 2027, we now owe him in 2028. Excuse me. So we would make that year $22 million, but not guaranteed. So let's do the math to make sure we did that right. 22 plus 18 is 40, plus 14 is 54, plus 2 is 56, plus 16 is 72, correct. So that's the $72 million that we said we would try to sign him for. 4 years, $72 million contract is $18 million a year. Let's transact that. Where does that leave us? Again, because we were careful with our salary cap, we still have $63 million in cap space. Who else do I want? I want Drew Dalman. I want Drew Dalman very badly, the center from Atlanta, who is an extremely good run blocker and a decent to solid pass blocker, but an extremely good run blocker, decent pass blocker, who I hope will get better at pass blocking, but is so much better in JMS and run blocking. And that is something we really need. Fairly young man, hasn't made a lot of money yet. He's going to want a long contract. I'm willing to give him 5 years. I'm giving him 5 years. I'm going to give him a $15 million signing bonus, which will cost $3 million a year against the cap. And I think, what will it take to get him to come here from Atlanta, which is an up-and-coming team with a very good young quarterback, and who, had a pretty good year going last year until Cousins kind of got injured and then fell apart, and it all kind of fell off the rails. But to get him to leave Atlanta to come here is going to take some money. I'm thinking 5 years, $80 million. That's an average of $16 million a year. So we're giving him $15 million up front of the 80, so we still owe him $65 million. How are we going to do that? Well, again, because we're averaging $16 million a year, we really only have to give him $1 million next year. I'm going to say, let's do a little bit better than that. Let's give him $5 million next year. So the salary cap next year will still only take an $8 million hit for him, right? And if we're trying to do, so he's got a $15 million signing bonus and $5 million in base salary. He's getting $20 million in his hands next year. I think that is a very good way to get him to incentivize him to come play for us. Hey, we're going to put $20 million in your hands next year. And that will be fully guaranteed. And if we're looking at a 5-year, $80 million contract, then we still owe him, because that's $20 million you paid him, we still owe him $60 million, and we got 4 years to do it. So we basically could give him $15 million a year. I'm going to say, you know what? Let's do it this way. We're going to give you 17.5 in year 2, fully guaranteed. Again, we're aggressively pursuing this young man and trying to tell him, you're going to get a lot of your money up front. Please come. Then 15, 12.5. Why am I doing it that way? First of all, those last 3 years are not guaranteed. Maybe, you have to give him, we don't have to, but I'm going to suggest we give him $5 million, 1/3 of the base salary guaranteed in year 3. We're committing a lot of money to him, and we're committing a lot of it earlier than we need to, because we have a lot of cap space right now, and we have a lot of cap space next year. Let's use that to our advantage and front load some of these contracts. And then by the time 2027, 2028, 2029 come along, those numbers will sound like a bargain for Drew Dalman. If he's playing anywhere near what we expect from him, $12.5 million in 2029 is going to be like free. In fact, we're probably going to have to renegotiate that. He's probably going to say, I'm worth more than that now. And he probably will be right. I hope he's right. But so far, again, let's check the math. 12.5 plus 17.5 is 30, plus this 30 is 60, 65, 80. Yep. So there's the way that we can make Drew Dalman a reality. What does that leave us with? $56 million in cap space. Who else do I want? Now, again, I'm offering these people more money than I think they're probably going to be offered by most other teams, because I really want them. And we have the space, and now's the time to do that. BJ Hill, I'd love to have him back. I'm not sure he wants to come back. He, probably didn't want to leave in the first place, but we got rid of him, and then he went on to blossom in Cincinnati into a better player than he was here, although I think he would have blossomed here too. But now he's a very good player, although he is 30 years old now. So we don't need him for, 10 more years. But I think a 3-year deal where we're guaranteeing 2 of those years at a pretty good rate would get his attention. So let's say we offered BJ Hill 3 years, $54 million. That's 18 million AAV. And we said, okay, since we're giving you 3 years, we're going to offer you a $9 million signing bonus. So that 54 now comes down to, we still owe you 45, which is 15 million a year. And I'm going to say, you know what? Our cap space is doing pretty well this year. Maybe now we take the hit on him. Again, we're making him really want to come here. Maybe we give him 18 million this year. Hear me out. With a $9 million signing bonus and $18 million, we're giving this young man $27 million in his hands this year, right? Cap hit's $21 million, but we still got plenty of money. So cap hit, you know what, maybe that's a little bit high. Let's make it 15. Let's make it 15. So we got an $18 million cap hit this year for him, but he's going to have $24 million in hand. And if we give him, so we said we needed to average 15 a year. If we give him 16 next year and guarantee that, and then 14 the last year, and that's not guaranteed. 16 and 14 is 30, plus 15 is 45, plus 9 is 54. There's the $54 million. He's going to get in his hands $40 million, right? 16, 15, and 9 for sure. That's guaranteed. And then the 14, you know, who knows by the time he's 33 if he's still someone that we're going to want. We don't have to guarantee that money. But if he's playing at a high level at 33 years old, which is not out of the question, $14 million is going to seem like a bargain. And we can afford to take an $18 million cap hit this year. Why? Because we had so much cap space. We still have $39 million. There's a whole lot of teams who aren't even under the cap yet. They would love to have $39 million. Paulson Adebo is the next person I'm looking at. Paulson Adebo is a cornerback that I wanted to, if you've been watching our episodes from the beginning of from the summer, I was offering Darius Slayton for Paulson Adebo head up in August. I thought that would have been a win-win for both teams. Very good young cornerback. He did, of course, suffer a season-ending injury this year, so he's coming back from injury, which I think means he can't ask for ridiculous money this year. But I do think that we should offer him the possibility of making good money over the life of his contract. He's still young enough where that makes sense. So I'm saying if we offer him $4 million this year and guarantee that, that's not a lot of money, but again, he's coming off injury. We don't know what we have with him yet. So I'm saying let's not go crazy on what we pay him this year. If he plays well this year and looks like someone that we want to keep around for a while, I'm willing to increase that to $16 million next year, but I'm not going to guarantee it yet. In fact, I would say, so that's 20. I would say I would even do a slight raise in each of the years after that. Again, not guaranteed. If he's worth it, if he turns out to be the guy that we think he is. He had a really good breakout year last year, not 2024, 2023. And in 2024, he got injured midway through the season and missed the rest of the season. I think he's a very good cornerback, not a Pro Bowler, but a very good cornerback. And I think that by 2027, $17.5 million for a very good cornerback is not going to seem like a lot of money. We have the money now. So what I'm saying is, so 17.5 twice is 35, plus 20 is 55. If we're offering him $55 million in actual base salaries over 4 years, that's not bad. And then if we add another $5 million signing bonus, that brings it up to 4 years, $60 million. That's $15 million AAV. But it also puts $9 million in his hands. Yes, I got it. $9 million in his hands. So that allows us to, do some things that otherwise we might not be able to do. And $34 million is still plenty of money to sign our draft picks, to be ready for anybody who becomes injured during the season that we have to replace. I mean, it gives us a lot of flexibility. So I'm thinking that that is a very good place to be with this many people signed. So again, with $34.8 million still left in the cap, we have signed Paulson Adebo, B.J. Hill, Drew Dahlman, Milton Williams, and Jimmy Garoppolo. We've re-signed Deontay Johnson, Amir Smith-Marset, Jamie Gillan, Casey Kreider, and Chris Manhertz, and Greg Van Roten. We've extended Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence. None of those are crazy moves. None of those are things that I think we should look at and say, well, how could we pull that off? We can absolutely pull that off. So that's what I'm hoping we'll do. And then, of course, we still have to draft some new players. So I set up the uh, Pro Football Network draft. Let me hop on that real quick. And I set it up so that we are picking for 7 rounds. Let's enter the draft. So as usual, the quarterbacks are gone. Shedeur Sanders went first. Cam Ward went second. I am not trading down to 17, at least not for that offer. 11, maybe. 10, maybe. But honestly, what I think I would do is reject all of those and take Abdul Carter. I think if Abdul Carter falls to you at 3, assuming he's medicals check out, so to speak, you take Abdul Carter. I mean, that man just seems like a game changer. We signed some interior defensive linemen. So as much as I love Kenneth Grant, I have to look around at some other options because, oh my God, Jihad Campbell is still there. I'm not passing Jihad Campbell. But wait, before I say that, is Nick Emmanwori still here? Defense, safety. He should not still be here after that amazing performance he had at the combine. If you didn't see it, please go back and look. He had a ridiculous performance at the combine. So no, Nick Emmanwori is not here. I'm taking Kenneth Grant. I'm sorry, Jihad Campbell. Who's that 3rd round pick? I'm moving a little faster because, I'm on the clock, so to speak. 3rd round pick. We didn't pick a quarterback yet. Jackson Dart. There is no chance Jackson Dart's here in the 3rd round, but he's here now, so I'm taking him. But we know Jackson Dart's going in the 1st round. Who would I take here? Oh, Jordan Burch. I really like Jordan Burch a lot. Do have a lot invested in the defensive line right now, but Jordan Burch is a really good player. It's hard for me to not take Jordan Burch if he's available. Darius Alexander is a good player too. I think I'm just going to take Jordan Burch. He is somebody who I think makes us better. I think he is going to make that our identity. That's the kind of thing that makes teams say, okay, well, I guess we can't run against this team. And I get, Demetrius Knight is still there. I like him too, but we already took a linebacker. That we can't run against this team and we don't have much time to pass against this team. Really not a team that we're going to be able to score a lot of points against. I liked Damian Martinez. He didn't have a very good combine, but I like him as a power short yardage back. That's someone I would consider. Teddy Buchanan. I know I just took a linebacker. I know it. And I know I just didn't take another linebacker, but Teddy Buchanan had a really good combine as well. He's a tackling machine. I really like that young man. What he allows us to do is to possibly trade Micah McFadden or maybe even Bobby Okereke next year, because if these young men, Jihad Campbell and Teddy Buchanan, are who I think they are, we would be in position to trade a linebacker. I'm taking Jack Nelson. As you heard Mazo and I talk about last time, a lineman from Wisconsin is never a bad idea. And so I took one. And I'll live with the possibility that he may not be as good as many of the other linemen from Wisconsin. I'll just bet on Wisconsin linemen. Who else do I want? Oh, is Thor still available? Hold on. See Thor. Thor is someone I've been going to in the past. So I'm going to take a kicker. I'm going to say that Ben Sauls is the guy that I'm going with. And not seeing names that I'd recognize, to be perfectly honest. I did see Keandre Lambert-Smith at I saw Efton Chisholm also in the Senior Bowl. He looked like a very good slot receiver. Nobody here is jumping out at me as a must-have. So I'm going to say that Efton Chisholm is where I'm going to go. And that's our draft. So who did we wind up with? We wound up with Abdul Carter, Jihad Campbell, Jackson Dart, Jordan Burch, Teddy Buchanan, Jack Nelson, Ben Sauls, and Efton Chisholm. Again, realistically, I don't see any way Jackson Dart lasted 65. I don't think he lasted 34, to be honest. But he was there, so I took him. So what do you guys think about that outcome, both the free agent signings and the draft? Drop us a comment. Let us know what you think. Like, share, subscribe, all those good things. I'm trying my best to anticipate what the Giants might be able to do this free agency and draft, but I'd love to hear what you think. So let me know what you think. Did I do well? Would you like the team that I built? Give me a comment, or, like I said, share it, like it, subscribe it, and we'll talk to you again with Mazo at the next episode. So again, Clay from Brooklyn, Football with the Fellas, all about Big Blue, and I'm out.
Big shout out to El Marquis Productions, the talent behind the music and production here at Football with the Fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Their beats bring energy and excitement to every episode. El Marquis' skills in mixing, mastering, and creating top quality sound make the podcast come alive each week. For your own projects, check out elmarquisproductions.com and take your sound to the next level.